record this too, make sure we don't lose any of that. Aha, nice. Welcome to Coffee Experts Club. November 22nd, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Any big plans?
No. Yeah, this year is pretty low key for me. Low key.
Good day, Mr. Aaron.
And late to my own show. How does that work, man? Reagan, I've got guests here. We got family in the house, and I'm running late. Hi, ladies, how are you?
You have all 30 people over there yet?
Yeah, not quite yet. But man, they're setting up the tent. We're doing it outside. So Tasha, we're gonna do it outside, even though it's been freaking cold up here. Not 10 degrees with no heat in your house. Did your heater get fixed? Just tell me that. No, it didn't get fixed. Tasha, bring your dad. Get your dad there. Forget those.
I know.
Are you in a sauna right now? Looks like you're in a sauna also. Just
I'm just heating up. She's just trying to heat it up.
I'm just cold.
So anyway, we're doing Thanksgiving outside in a tent with heaters tomorrow night or on Thursday night. And so we're building the tent outside right now as we speak. So no people yet, but we're getting there for sure.
A literal circus tent.
Oh man, that's absolutely exactly what it is, Ben Cladderbuck. So Human Being Reno, we're back. Coffee
We're
Experts.
here.
Hey everybody. Thank you guys for willing to jump in. Reagan, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
So-
happy to be here. I'm excited.
So Ben, what have I missed? Did I miss anything yet?
Nope, you've missed absolutely nothing.
I love that. So anybody tuning into Coffee Experts, you know, Miss Tasha, she's like an old hand. She's been here a long time. She's been around forever. But, you know, we've been asking her, hey, bring in some of your managers, especially some of the badass ones, and let's get to talk with them just about, you know, growing coffee business. For those of you who are new and just seeing us for the first time at Coffee Experts, the opportunity is to hear experiences from other people and grow in their opportunities from other people for the sake of elevating our own things. You know, all of us are facing pretty consistent things. You know, none of us are doing rocket science, you know, whether it's stuff that we're helping start in Belize. You know, we've got a coffee brand that's kicking off in Belize right now. That's awesome. We just helped with the grand opening up in Montana, where I know Drew was down living in Reno for like 4 months towards the tail end of last year and beginning of this. So I think that wherever it's at, we're all facing something pretty similar. And sometimes when you hear people talk about what they're facing, what they've gone through, things they've learned, you're able to self-actualize yourself in their position, and it opens up something else in your brain where you're like, no, that's actually good. And I'm actually going to jot that down, and I'm actually going to try and plug that in. And that's what Coffee Experts is all about, is just getting together with awesome people that are doing great things in coffee, not people that are just theorizing about it, but people are actually doing it in the day-to-day. And so that's what led us to Tasha and the powerful ladies down at Human Being Reno. And I know I get to hang out with Tasha every week for our L10 meetings. We do level 10 meetings from EOS, which is Entrepreneur's Operating System, from the book Traction by Gino Wickman. And it's just so we do a leadership team meeting every week, which leads us into talking through the issues of the business. So we talk about all the different stands, but it's great to have Reagan with us on just you and the stand that you lead. So let's hear from you, sister. Like, so how long have you been managing? Kind of tell us about a little bit about your journey, how you came to start working with Human Being, and then how you escalated up in the company.
I've been managing since February, so pretty short amount of time. Started in, I want to say it's been about 2 years now. So I've never been in coffee before. I had worked mostly in like restaurant industry, and then I was bartending and started doing that, and break.
Oh no.
Social making drinks. But it's like a totally different level of service. My aunt glitching.
Yeah.
You're glitching just a little bit. You're glitching just a little bit. So it's okay. We all glitch sometimes. You just
All right. Sorry.
That's okay. So we heard, so what I heard was you've been managing since February. You've been with Human Being for about 2 years.
Yes.
Is that right? You came out of bartending into coffee, which is a little bit different of an application of like serving people. And then you got to tell me, so with your internet, you got, are you able to change to a different Wi-Fi connection, or can you move to your phone, or what can we do? Because I'm a little bit nervous about us.
Let me see. Yeah, give me. Give me just a second.
No, you're
Sorry.
okay. Do not be sorry. Like this happens every single day, all day long for all of us. Anybody that lives in the environment we're living on, it's all about my freaking internet. Dang it, dude. And you're like kicking kids off the internet and you're like, get off the internet. Like, I need the bandwidth. Ben yelling at his wife, like she's taking the bandwidth, everybody's taking the bandwidth.
Turn Netflix off.
Turn Netflix
Do
off.
not watch Netflix right now.
So Tasha, maybe catch us up to speed a little bit on Reagan's
Yeah,
from your
Reagan is amazing. She was somebody who moved up very, very fast with the company. So she is one, like she said, she's been working for the Bean less than 2 years. She's coming up on 2 years. And in that amount of time, she's already managing, which is just crazy. You don't usually hear that happen. She got in right at the perfect window where a stand had been opening up and the opportunity arose. She's a natural born leader. She's very, very driven. She holds her own in the stand. She knows what she should be doing. Everyone like laughs because Reagan can have like 20 things going on in her head, and it's easier for her to just do it than to like speak it out loud. So nobody asks her if she needs help. She'll just do it. And it's just like, that's just Reagan. She'll dance around the stand. She does it all in her own groove. She was an assistant manager for like less than 2 months, I want to say. We always knew on the back end what we were doing. And I had told Reagan going into it, hey, we want to give you the assistant manager role. If we had an opportunity arise quickly, would you be able to, get up there and do it? And she was here for it. She's like, yeah, sure. And I don't think she understood exactly how quick we were talking. But it happened. It happened very fast. So yes, she took on our pyramid location within an assistant manager is 2 months, then jumped into managing and has been managing that stand since February. That is one of our top tier stands. It's fast paced. It is go, go, go. And it hit the ball running from the moment it got in there. That stand had not even been open for a year, I want to say, before Reagan got into where she was. And so we were still dealing with turnover really, really high in that stand, still building a team in that stand, still building regulars in that stand. And we just needed somebody to take over and really own it and act like a home and get this base down to where it needed to be. And Reagan has done just that. She's built up an awesome team. Her numbers are great. She's a strong leader and she seems happy doing what she's doing. So all around, it's just amazing over there. She's doing great things.
I love it. So new hire in, she's around for just a little while and you start seeing a lot of potential in her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you pull her straight into an assistant manager role. Now, what stand did she start? Did she start at Pyramid or she started a different one?
She may have trained at another stand, but pretty much her growth was all within Pyramid.
Which is rad, right? When you're starting, like,
yeah.
I know that's always some of the heartburn, Ben, right? Like when you're hiring in somebody new or you're bringing in somebody and it's like, you want to build that continuity, especially with a brand new stand. You're trying to build up your consistent customer base. And it's always a bummer when you have to pull somebody out and put them away because everybody's like, what happened to Reagan? So it's always cool when you're able to raise somebody from the baseline up, and get them to a spot. So I think that it's awesome that she started there. It's awesome that she continued there. And then that you saw that she was like, hey, this isn't just like somebody that's working as a barista. This is somebody that's going to help us with management too. So
totally.
Reagan, are you back with us, Reagan? Or are you still thinking about it? At least she's pretty, right? At least she's
at least she's good to look at.
Yeah, she's like pretty face, like Ben and I freeze and we like, please, dear God, somebody chop that guy's camera because that's not something we want to look at, So
right.
I will say too, though, like it's great for customers even when they're able to like see the journey of
I'm on the hotspot home.
She's back.
Are we doing better? How are we doing? We doing better? What do you think?
Okay, I think back now. It's a little slow, but it's better, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll try a little bit slow and see how it works. And then the next phase is going to be, you're just going to kick on your phone for me, right? Like you're just going to click the link from your phone and we're just going to jump on the phone and not even try and do the computer. Because are you on your phone right now?
Okay. No, I'm on my computer.
Here, Riggs, I just sent you the link on your phone. Click on that and then just hop on from there.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to be better for you, sister. Otherwise,
okay, sweet.
Yeah, otherwise we're going to have lag. So Ben, sorry, keep going while Reagan jumps in from another application.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, like it's great for the customers to be able to see an employee when they first start going to a stand, like ascend the ladder. It helps just create that sort of cohesion with your customers and your regulars because they could be like, oh my gosh, I knew you when you're just a barista. Oh, you're a manager And then the customer feels like they're growing with the people they know at the stand. I mean, that's something I went through when we opened Road 68. Like went there and started as manager, or started as assistant and moved up to manager pretty quickly. And the customers were like, we love this location because they feel like they're a part of the family of the coffee shop, which really sort of creates that regular customer connection. And they keep coming back because they want to know about your lives.
Absolutely. And especially getting somebody in at like the beginning of an opening of a stand too, like it's even that much more like greatness built into it. They're like, I've truly been here from the beginning. I've seen the stand grow. I've seen you grow. It's just awesome. They feel like a part of something so much bigger.
It really does create like that sort of like hometown brand type feel, like that customers love, and they just don't get like at a Starbucks, a giant corporation where they feel like they're just like a number coming through the drive-through. Like if you can create that real strong hometown tie-in to your brand, to who you are as a coffee company, it sort of cements yourself in the community around you, because the customers are like, I know these people, I've seen them grow, I know this kid, I know him by name, I know everybody who works there, and they know me, and they I love my drink there because it's so familiar. That's something that you can't really like just recreate off the cuff. It has to happen naturally, and it happens really well if they can see the employees grow like that, which is great.
Yeah. And we are firsthand that everybody's like surprised when we tell them we're a franchise. They're like, what? No, they usually realize it when they go to like Idaho or somewhere else. They're like, there's beans in Idaho. We're like, yeah, we know. And they're like, no, like, it's like, we thought you were local.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it definitely, it builds it up for sure.
All I have to say is, Reagan, you did it. You conquered the technological
I did it.
jungle.
Thanks,
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
No, I think that technology is the best and the worst all at the same time. So obviously, we just talked so much good about you, and the sad part is you probably couldn't even hear it because you're sticking around with technology and trying to make it happen. So just know this: Tasha thinks you're awesome. She has talked you up huge. We talked about your journey of coming in as a baby barista in Pyramid, and then really ascending as assistant manager, and then to managing the store. So all those things, you're going to go down a road where you're talking about the swap from bartending into baristing, and then maybe some of your journey. So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think in most of my jobs, I've always kind of like quickly just escalated to management, which is just like, I'm just like, it's easier. It's just way easier than, I'd rather just know everything that's going on. I got it, guys.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because during my interview with Tasha, I was like, I don't want to be a manager. And I was like, I just want to be a regular person working my job. But it's almost like the people that are in the stand have all of the tools and all of the access to already be ready to step up. And it's all the information is really there. And people need like a voice, and they need a leader and someone that's just willing to be the voice of reason, or someone that speaks for them even. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do that. I'll do it. It's fine. I got it. I got this.
Super big kudos to you, because it wasn't, Ben and I will always talk about, okay, so when you're raising up new leaders, it's always great if you can have a baseline where you're like, hey, I'm going to start them in maybe a slower store or a lower volume store, or maybe a training store. But pretty much you got thrown into the wolves, sister, like that. Like Pyramid's one of the top ballers within the chain, right? Like as far as Human Being Reno goes, it's you and Moana duking it out every single, at least when I'm watching your scorecard every week, like sales, you and Moana are like neck and neck on fighting it out. How has it been growing up in a coffee culture of high volume? Not necessarily, you didn't really get to get your feet wet, right? Like you just jumped in both feet deep.
I think I prefer it to, I can't really like stop moving. So I like to keep moving. And if there's ever a time where there's time to settle, there's always room for improvement or time to like use it to your advantage. But it's been really cool. But I also just feel really lucky because that was just this, I feel like I was gifted a really good stand. Like I can't take full ownership of how good it does, but it is like nice to see in comparison, at least just from last year's sales. I'm like, is it really that much of a difference, or, things like that. But I just want to like maintain and like excel as much as possible. I don't want to ever like lose that momentum that we've already had. And that's just kind of been the expectation from the beginning, honestly.
I'm curious, like with your bartending background, like Which do you think is most difficult? Is it bartending or like coffee tending? And did bartending give you like a good leg up on the barista game?
You know what? I would say it gave me really good people skills as far as like taking a situation down a couple notches, because Reno's a 24-hour town. So bars are like, and I would be the only person, like the only person on staff in the room.
Wow.
So it's kind of like babysitting.
Yeah, seriously.
You don't get tequila, you get water.
Yeah, for real. But I was also like serving and cooking in the kitchen some days. So it's kind of like I'm used to just being like seeing eyes in every single corner of the room and watching what everyone's doing. And I can really get an eye for people's intention, which is just a really good skill to have, to be intuitive with people's needs and what they're actually trying to get or what they actually want without them saying it.
Yeah.
Especially in coffee, like if you're like, hey, do you want to do this or do that? Or they're like, I'm like, you don't have to do that. That's okay. Like you can have what you love and that's okay. Don't feel bad about that. It's just kind of having that, like knowing what people really anticipate and what they really need and having a feel for just giving them exactly what they want or what they need, even if they don't know what they want,
Yeah, that's a great skill.
So the two things we always ask, the two questions we always get to in the call is, and you can take whatever order you want, and that is one of the greatest things that you've learned or that you've taught, and then one of the hardest things that you've had to go through, either past or present. So you can choose it however you want to, but we'd love to hear from you some wisdom from the mighty Reagan of how she has navigated coffee.
You know what? Coffee or like management in coffee?
Anything. You speak
anything.
To what you want. Yeah.
I think that personally is I love, and Tasha's probably heard this, I have this kind of like joke going on in my head of like Uncle Regs, like that's me. Because I like the idea of being that person that is like, and this is always the hardest thing, that person that you respect and love, but also someone that you can listen or that you can share things with and talk to. And it's like, you never want to disappoint that person, like you have a respect for them, but you're not like scared of them. That's at least my personal view. And I have that balance of like, I don't want to be just a nagger, but I want to do my job and I want everyone else to do their job very well. And I have an expectation and, I set the standard from the beginning. But also there's room for play and room for fun and creativity, and room for expression where people would say things that, maybe they wouldn't tell someone or somebody at home or even their parent, you know what I mean? Just like, yeah. But also bringing it in to where they can still like listen and respect and just kind of like holding myself there is a good space for me is when I realize I'm like, I don't need to be anyone's mommy. I don't need to be their mom and take care of things that I'm not supposed to take care of, but I'm here and I'm with you and you're with me and we're all in this little family together. So I'm going to help you and you're going to help the person next to you and we're going to all help each other in turn.
And I think that has been such a great thing too, with Reagan coming in with not having a true team. Like Reagan had to build that up from the ground. I mean, it was really, really rough when Reagan got in there. And so for her to come in with that demeanor of Uncle Regs and making sure that there's like a fine line of getting shit done, but also being done in a respectful manner and room for play, it really has helped her team. And it's such a fine line. And I feel like Reagan's done such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to do it. I think to be able to inspire, you're inspiring by your leadership, right? And that's some of what you missed when you're in the technology glitch, when you're trying to navigate your way through it. Tosh was just talking about how you're somebody that's always doing, and you're always moving and you're always thinking and you're like, there's a million different things going on in your head that you're just getting things done. And I think when you lead from example, then it begs the respect of, no, this isn't somebody that's just telling me what to do. This is somebody that if I don't get this done quick enough, they're probably going to push me out of the way and they're going to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of respect like breeds a wanting to rise to that level too. I mean, like you've earned it and then they want to rise to it. They want to make you proud. They want to do right by you. And then it also breaks down some of those walls where they're able to communicate, like you're saying, like get vulnerable a little bit, share things, like let it become more of like a cohesive team. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel really lucky to be able to not just like develop, but like spot out those people. Because some of these things, yes, they can be taught to an extent, but a lot of it is just built into people from the beginning, just being like naturally motivated and intuitive and wanting to cater to people's needs. It's something that's like a muscle you have to learn. And if I can show them, I'm like, you can do it. You can make small talk. I know you don't like to give small talk, but you can do it. It's a muscle. You can
Get on the
learn how
window.
to work it.
That's right. Don't turn your back. Like, let's have some conversations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So that's something that you're good at. Tell me something that's been tough. Like, what's been a tough like hurdle to get over, something that you've had to work your way through, something that maybe didn't come as easy, and you're just like, man, that was a son bitch that we've had to deal with, and we pushed our way through it.
I think it's so crazy as I'm realizing, because it's only been such a short amount of time, but I'm realizing that there's like cycles almost that go up and down, and then there's like a plateau, and I'm like, things are a little too good right now. So I think that in that cycle is I almost like struggle with imposter syndrome almost, of like, am I capable of this? Am I this person to do that, can do this and step forward and be the voice? Because it's always a little bit of a learning step for me too, whenever it's just a new step in the cycle. I think that's like my constant struggle and lessons that I'm getting taught is like, oh yeah, I got this, till like, can I do this? I'm like, oh no, yeah, I got this. And I think just like questioning myself, getting in my own head, overthinking the power that I do have, and like the platform that I have is really special, and I don't want to mess it up. That's really it. Is like sometimes I'm just questioning, like, did I do that? Did I say the right thing at that right time? And then I think the fact that I'm reflecting on it is just enough to grow, and to just keep going. I think that's about it.
We talk about imposter syndrome a lot on Experts Club. You'd be surprised. And the funniest thing about every time, and Ben can concur with this, like the funniest part about it is the people that are vulnerable enough to talk about it the most, you're always like, what in the world? That person struggles with imposter syndrome? Because you're like, that person's a freaking badass. Like, what is that person struggling with imposter syndrome? And I think just to edify you for a minute, like you're managing $1 million+ store, like you're killing it. And if you sucked at this and you've been, you keep saying it's only been such a short time, February is not that short of a time. If you sucked at this, we would be seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Like we would be seeing it in your sales dropping. We'd be seeing it in your scores dropping. I see your scorecards every week. You know what I'm saying? Like we would see it that if you weren't good at what you were doing, it would have been apparent by now. And I think that obviously it's a good thing for us to be humble enough to realize we don't know everything. We're always still growing. We're always still learning. I think that obviously having that respect for people like Tasha, who is a seasoned badass that's proven herself for years now, in a role, and like learning from somebody like her, but also realizing, no, I can hold my own. I can hold my own space, and having almost like that personal pride, that personal confidence of, no, I can do this and the way I know I can do this is that I've been doing this. Because I think that we're always looking for, well, there's got to be somebody out there that knows this better than me, has done this longer than me, and for sure they're out there. But at the same time, people become those people by stepping into the role that you stepped into and actually living that high level badassery day after day, week after week, month after month, and then growing. And I think that that's what's the story of Pyramid. That's the story of Human Being Reno. Ben and I talk about it all the time. Drew and I talk about it all the time. Even our time at Roasters with 15 locations and a roastery. And like you guys have more ringers than Roasters had, as far as more high volume stores. We had some really big stores that were monsters, but at the same time, we also had some low performing stores. Not all of our stores were ringers. And I feel like Jeff, to his credit, man, and blessings on him for what he did. And Tasha, you coming alongside of it, is you guys chose some really bang them up locations in the city of Reno, and you're running one of them, sister. So kudos to you and well done.
Thanks.
One of the best cures for imposter syndrome too, especially in the coffee industry, is when you can raise up and mentor one of your own employees and send them out to manage a location, and they're successful. I mean, I got to do that a few times at Roasters, and it's just like if they go out and they're running a stand and successful stand, you're like, oh, I do know what I'm talking about. It's like I grew this employee, I mentored this employee, and now they're doing as well, if not better than I was. I mean, that happened a couple of times actually. I sent out a couple of managers that I trained up, and I'm like, oh, man, they make me look kind of bad actually. Doing
I love it. we'd send Ben back out to grand openings, and then eventually Ben would just be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna run the parking lot. I'm just gonna head out the parking lot because it's like there's need out there." And I realize I'm not the fastest anymore. I'm not the best anymore.
Yeah.
Like I came from a place where I was those things, but there are great people coming up underneath me. And I do think, Ben, you're really right. Like that, Jim Collins has got that great book, Good to Great, where he goes in, and if you guys have never read that book, it's an amazing book, but he parallels two companies that had all the same opportunities, came up at the same time, had all the same assets and resources at the same time, were challengers in the same market. And you'll watch one take off way up ahead of them, like name brands that we all know, Walgreens and different chains that are out there. But the differentiator he pulls out, and he did like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours worth of research and pulled apart all kinds of data. The similarities and the ones that rose were their ability to raise up next generation leaders. The ones that didn't get their ego too stuck in, no, I've got to be the man, I've got to be the woman, I've got to be the boss. I'm going to always know, I'm going to always do, I'm going to always say, but somebody's like, no. I think Drew does this really, really well, where he's like, no, I'm going to empower other people. I'm going to teach everybody everything I know, and I'm going to mentor them and grow them in a culture where we can make them great. Because that really is what makes companies step up far and away better than their competitors, is the ability to raise up great leaders. And you're a great example of that. So
yeah, I think training is absolutely the most important part of, because you can't really be that's your only time to be hands-on with your people, like right up in them. I always tell people, I'm like, when we're training, we're Siamese twins. Like we are joined at the hip, and we're working together, so you can see how I do it and I can see how you do it. And then, it's that's what's really important to me, is like that training and getting it from the jump of like, this is how you treat the people. This is how you make their drinks. This is how you treat your coworkers, just kind of setting the general culture.
Yeah. Really, really setting the culture of we're here to serve, right? Like obviously we all have a craft. We all want to be badass at our craft. We all want to put a good cup of Joe out the window. That's what we're trying to be here to do. But at the same token, none of us have jobs if we don't make the customer feel special. None of us have jobs if we're not serving in a way that they want to come back every single morning, because we know their name, we know their drink, we knock it out every time for them. And so it's like you're saying, that comes by training. It's not just the craft of the training, but it's them mirroring you, watching the way that you're putting drinks out the window is powerful. And so I think you're right. Joined at the hip is a really good way to put that. So anyway, ladies, Human Being Reno ladies, so grateful to have you today. Thank you for coming on Coffee Experts. Reagan, I'm sorry we dealt with tech at the beginning for so long, but you really brought it up strong at the end. So thanks for being a badass. And Ben, as always, excellent haircut. Appreciate having you on the show. Thanks for being here for Coffee Experts, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.